Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Nathan Drinkard. I'm Jay Wise, and thank you for joining us on a special episode. After 223 episodes, we regret to inform you A Drink of Wisdom will be discontinued for the immediate future. We are closing up shop, so to speak. Reason for this is that, unfortunately, I have come to the determination that I do not believe I have the adequate time to give to the show moving forward. And because of that, I feel it would be a disservice to continue to try to do it at anything less than 100%. This is something that me and Drink sat down last night and we went over it. We talked about it just to make sure we was on the same page. Unfortunately, the show is ending as of now because of my decision. I believe at this time, Drink would be more than willing and able to continue on. But unfortunately, the thing we've created here is has always been a two-man gig at minimum. And, I'm somewhat leaving him hanging. But I do appreciate his love and support through all that. And I mean that genuinely, as one brother to another. 223 episodes. I was doing some of the math earlier. We've done over 1,100 segments, totaling almost 300 hours of content. Just so you know, just for background, in case you're interested, this is an idea that was hatched way back in 2014.
Right.
Somewhere, could have been in the Atlantic Ocean, could have been the Mediterranean Sea, or the I don't know what's some of them other cool bodies of water. The Red Sea, some what's that country then? It don't matter. Yemen, whatever country is down there.
The Suez Canal, right?
Suez Canal.
Right.
We had some journeys during 2014. That's where it all started. And then I still remember the date that the show, the inception of the show was created. It was July 26, 2019, to where we broke ground and said, yes, this thing we've been talking about on and off for a while. We decided to move forward. A little over a month later, we broke ground on our first episode. This was around the time, in case you don't remember, that Antonio Brown was going through some of his unfortunate happenings in his life.
Right.
And we were covering Antonio Brown quite a bit at the beginning. We covered Patrick Mahomes winning his first Super Bowl. COVID hit. And before that, the late, great Kobe Bryant passed away. We covered that. Probably still in my mind, the most difficult episode we did. But we covered COVID. We covered a host of other social issues. George Floyd, January 6th, vaccines, and so many social issues in addition to all the sports. But we covered multiple Super Bowls, we covered multiple NBA finals, college football playoffs, men's Final Fours, World Series, even covered a few big time boxing events. What a journey, what a privilege. And the reason for this, that the show is taking a pause at this time, is not because I no longer have the drive or the energy or the passion, and certainly not the expertise. In my opinion, it's just simply that I don't think I have the time for it anymore. If you don't know, Drink and I both still have full-time jobs, and a secondary full-time job, which is being husbands and fathers.
Right.
And so those are, and in addition to those primary duties, if you will, I've had some things recently come down that I felt compelled to try to pursue, and because of that, just having to take a look at the priorities and all the rest of it. This is the determination that I've come to at this moment in time. With that being said, Drink, please, the floor is yours, brother.
So I'm glad you said the word pause. So that lets people know that at some point, like you said, discontinue. We don't know what the future might hold. Cards might fall back to where we get a chance to jump back on this thing. We got more time to put more blood, sweat, and tears in this. As saddened as I am, and I'm saddened, but trust and believe, it's just one of the things where, listen, in order for you to succeed in anything, you need support. And just like we talked about this a little earlier, I think under a different circumstance where you can actually have tangible numbers of your support, and you can show what it is that you're actually doing with your product to show that it's a good product. I'm not saying like me and Jay did the best of, using all the time we had to make this big product, but at the end of the day, I think we did a fairly good job to get it out to who we can get it out to. Especially when you put the fact that we started on Skype and then we eventually moved over to Zoom. We've been part of Colorcast. Jay, he didn't call actual basketball games, actual football games. We both used our military influence to try to, grant these numbers, even all the way down to the editing and publishing of the videos and the actual podcast itself, making ourselves available on every platform we can, pretty much be on. But it's just one of those things. We just, as Jay alluded, we just don't have the time to make this priority number one. And in this business, and if you want to succeed, you got to make this priority number one. And unfortunately for the both of us, it can't be done at this time to make this priority number one. Like he said, listen, we got full-time jobs, first and foremost. Secondly, he ain't lying. This the father, dad, the dad, husband piece ain't no joke. For all the dads and fathers, if you got two kids like we both do, you know what time it is. One of which are babies, and listen, that's tough sledding. It really is. Not to make excuses, but at the end of the day, and then like he said, you have additional callings coming out. You got to do what you got to do, what's best for you. And I told you that yesterday, Jay. And I meant that. You got to do what's best for you. You got to do what's best for your family. At the end of the day, entertainment is going to be here. Sports are always going to be around. And I would say this. Keep in mind, we talked about this in 2014. You just said we did our first show in 2019. So that showed it could be a gap in between, talking about something and then getting it done. And then we take a break now. Who knows, 3 to 5 years from now, who knows where we'll be at, and we whip this thing out. And then, by then, hopefully I would like to have the branded names under our control, and then we can possibly be in a better situation, whether that's educational-wise, financial-wise, space-wise, whatever it might have you, to do something bigger and better with the Drink of Wisdom brand. But right now, listen, we got to discontinue. And as sad as it is, I know I ain't the happiest about it. I know Jay is not. It took a little bit for him to get it out to me yesterday. But at the end of the day, I understand. I love him nonetheless. Respect the guy. And listen, like I told you this yesterday, Jay. At the end of the day, man, we had a goal with this show, and I think we accomplished as far as our internal goals. We didn't quite become the household name we might have been sought out to be, but I think internally, what me and you had going personally, I think we was able to obtain that goal personally and be able to break ground on a lot of things. Like you named a lot of stuff we went over. We touched on subjects that, most people don't touch on, the race subjects, the George Floyds of the world, COVID, voting in Georgia. We touched on that. We dabble into politics, more you than me, but I put my 2 cents on that. We either had a third man in the booth for a while, and then he left. So listen, I didn't realize how many episodes we did, because when you get to doing them, you don't really keep up with the number. You kind of you're pumping them. You're getting your material out. You're getting your content out. But at the end of the day, man, this been a fun ride, man. And like I say, you taught me so much about, preparation, somewhat being a professional, because if it was up to me, we'll be over here just saying any and everything on any episode, but you taught, I learned to keep that off the recording more than on the recording, and it makes for a product that can be disseminated a little wider than if I was really giving you that ball shot talk. All right. But nonetheless, man, it's been a great journey, man. And like I told you yesterday, I have nothing to complain about. Here's the deal: you're gonna go off and do great things. I'm gonna pivot to something that I kind of it's probably what I needed was a little shove for me to kind of look into something else that I kind of want to do. Now I got time to look into it. But at the end of the day, folks, I wouldn't necessarily say this will be the last Drink of Wisdom episode you'll see from us. I never say never. Let me just put it that way. At the end of the day, like I said, we have proven that we can take a break from this and come back to it. We have proven that, met this guy in 2014, folks. It's 2022. I haven't been in the, active duty, service member since 2016. So that just lets you know it ain't just about being, I met him when we was active duty, and then that's that. It ain't about that, man. It's about we had a connection. We have a connection, I should say. And it wasn't just through sports, man. If you actually think about it, actual real life connections as well. Don't be surprised you see us at UVA game next year. You know what I'm saying? We still out here doing that thing. You know what I'm saying? I preferably wanted to be, UVA versus Virginia Tech or something like that, or some where the crowd gonna get real spicy. But with that said, listen, man, I'm gonna miss you for sure. I told you that I'm gonna miss you. And as much as man, I'm not gonna lie, Zoom is chapping me up right now. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit more, and then I'm gonna try to close it before Zoom give us the boot here with this stupid update that they just came out with. Floor is yours, man.
Yeah, the one thing I'd say, since Zoom is being Zoom tonight, the one thing, like, I always hold my head up high about this show is we never found ourselves on opposite sides of an argument just for the sake of being on opposite sides of the argument. A lot of shows that I see from our perspective that make it big, it feels like there's just a whole lot of yelling and arguing just to yell and argue because that's what people want to see. And I get that. It probably is more entertaining to see Stephen A. Smith just yell at somebody over something because he doesn't like what they're saying, as opposed to, generally speaking, our approach of having some type of measured, calm, cool debate, even when we see things somewhat differently. And a lot of times we see things the same.
Right.
But we always, I remember that was something we nailed down at the beginning. We never wanted to disagree just for the sake of disagreeing and trying to make it more interesting, because we always wanted to give genuine opinions. And that's one thing I can always say and be proud of, is that's what we did each and every show. We always gave genuine opinions. Drink real quick. I know we're running short on time, but list a few highlights, if you would, some of the memorable segments, if you got a few.
Okay, so right off the top, the first memorable segment is we did the most recent Michael Jordan and LeBron debate. Not my most shining moment, I will give that. But I always thought in the back of my head, we're going to talk about this when both guys are retired and their stats are like, solidified. So I think that's the first one for me. The second one would be the Kobe Bryant. Now, because of what that meant, you know what I'm saying? That was a very sad and down segment. but it was because of what Kobe had done, like how he impacted our lives. And I say ours as the three piece because that we did have Kobe around for during that time. And I gotta say, the third part is probably bringing in the third guy, bringing in Cody. I thought we had this transition where, you know, me and you going back and forth, and then it's like, hey, won't we just bring a moderator like most shows do? And we brought him in, and I think I think he took our show to he brought a lot of insight. He brought a lot of action. Let me tell you something. He was pretty witty off the brain like I was. And he always brought the numbers. You know, me and you, we're talking about what we just seen was happening. He'll dive into the numbers. Now, he said some erroneous stuff. Don't get me wrong, but he brought that extra to it. You know what I'm saying?
He brought the finances.
He brought the finances. Opened up them books, Dan Snyder, and then I would say it's probably other times is the very first episode we had with, you know, you remember when like we was trying to figure this out on Facebook Live and like we was flopping around. I mean, it was a S show of all S shows out here. We couldn't get that right for nothing. I don't know what that was about. We flopped around, and I remember being, you know, in South Carolina at the time and just like being out on the back patio and just like, man, what are we doing? Like we just flopping around. And then I got to give credence to the segment we did talking about the AAC replacing the Big 12. Listen, I think to date that video was probably our biggest performer to date. I thought that video was going to be a ray of hope, a ray of light into like how big the future could be for us. Unfortunately, that probably was just the peak of what we've been doing here. But, you know, if I had to go off the top of my head, those are like, I think the most impactful moments. Also, when we was working on the lead-ins for the promo videos and it's stuff like that. It's like that behind the scenes stuff, you know what I'm saying? Not necessarily what we recorded, but you remember me and Cody, we working on that and like we jacking that up because it's all about timing and we gotta do this again. And then I'm improvising. I got my little beep, you know, my little beep over there. And you know what I'm saying? We enjoying that. We having a good time because, you know, we kind of just like, we're doing this together. You know what I'm saying? We're putting this together. And I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss having a product, working with a guy that I respect, and we're building this together. I think that was the thing. If you know, I was, you know, we had videos where we got 0 views, and I ain't gonna say I was fine, but I was okay because I'm like, I'm building this with somebody. I'm building my own thing with Jay. I'm building my own thing with Jay and Cody sometimes. I just was happy to build something with you. You know what I'm saying? So it was impactful. Like it was so impactful to have some other outlet. To when you're dealing with, you know, work, when you're dealing with the family, it gave me something else. You know what I'm saying? Another outlet. So hey man, that I can never thank you enough for. I can never thank you enough for that. So I don't want to take all the time.
Oh, that's fine. Folks, do us a favor. Stick with us. We'll be right back after a short break.